Hey everyone, what's going on? It's your host Calamity here today. We're going to bring you another Anything Goes podcast. We got NFL, NBA, baseball, um, and a lot of movie and TV this week. It's actually a lot of news in general this week, but mainly movies and TV. So yeah, we're going to start off with NFL like we have been doing. Go from NFL, NBA, MLB, and then movies and TV. So to start things off with the NFL, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Super Bowl parade, mainly because it seemed pretty crazy. I've been to two New England Patriots Super Bowl parades. Both were really fun. And Gronk was Gronk. At the ones actually, I think the ones I went to, he wasn't. Oh no, one of them he technically was shirtless, which that's like a whole thing now. Him and J.R. Smith are like the two people that go shirtless now when they do parades or anything. But Gronk was Gronk. He danced. He shirtless on a boat going through Tampa Bay or going to Tampa Bay, whatever they were doing. Brady though, Brady was the big surprise. Brady was, woo, he was not all there. That's what I can say pretty much. But it seemed like he had a lot of alcohol. He literally had the Lombardi Trophy on the edge of a boat and literally threw it to another boat where Gronk and a bunch of other people were. And he made it, thank God. But that was pretty ballsy of Brady. I'm sure he knew he was going to do it though. They weren't separated by a big amount, but still throwing that trophy, which I imagine is pretty heavy. Don't know, never held one, but I imagine it's pretty heavy. But he made it nonetheless, so I guess whatever. But then he got off the boat and they got to the end of the parade, I think it was, and he literally had to be like, someone was like holding him up as they were walking, going into whatever building they were going in. And you could tell he was pretty lit. He even commented on Twitter or retweeted it with a comment at the top that said something along the lines of nothing to see here, just a little avocado tequila, which I don't even know if that's a thing, but I think he was just making a joke at it that he was pretty fucked up. But it was pretty funny nonetheless. I've never seen Brady like that. The two parades that I've been to and the other ones I've seen, he's never been like that. But hey, he's 43. He's earned the right to do whatever he wants right now. So there's that. And then there's just a couple things that I've seen going around the news lately. One is Odell Beckham Jr. possibly going to Tampa Bay. I don't really know what the link is with this. I know people brought up Odell Beckham Jr.'s name last year in terms of going to the Patriots, and he said that he wants to. He said he wants to play for Tom Brady. Not play with Tom Brady, but play for Tom Brady, which was kind of interesting to say that. But I think it's just Brady being there and Odell Beckham Jr. coming off injury and seeing how well the Browns did without Odell Beckham Jr. So it could be that. And I think, honestly, Tampa Bay, as long as they had the money to do it, I think they could. The only thing is they're going to have to give up their first-round pick probably for him, which to me would be worth it if it's just going to be a first-round pick and Odell Beckham Jr. straight up. I think that's a perfectly fine trade. And plus you keep everybody else that you have now, like AB, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Imagine adding Odell Beckham Jr. to that mix. It's ridiculous. I don't think that'll happen, though. I think the only way that'll happen is if Tampa Bay gets rid of one of their wide receivers. Because that's just too much. Too many weapons. I mean, not enough people are gonna get the ball. I mean, if they're okay with that, then I guess that's fine. I think Mike Evans is okay with that. Don't really know how Chris Evans, Chris Godwin feels about that. AB already kind of is that, unfortunately, because he's kind of taken the only job offer that was given to him. But then you have Gronk. I mean, Gronk did well in the Super Bowl. So did Antonio Brown. I mean, he caught a touchdown pass, so did pretty well. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Cleveland would kind of see that as pretty much giving the trophy to Tampa Bay, I guess, because, I mean, they just won it. They're going to keep their defense together, which is, I don't want to say their defense won it for them, but, like, obviously it was really, I don't know, I guess I can say the defense won it for them. It's hard for me to say that. I mean, I am a Tom Brady fan, but I'm not going to say the defense carried him, but the defense was like the strongest factor. Also, having Brady was probably the second strongest factor because without Brady, that team probably wouldn't be nearly as prepared for the Super Bowl as they were. Because Brady provides more things than on the field. So I don't think that trade will happen. But there's also the whole issue with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you guys know really about that situation, but he was holding out, and then he got franchise tag, which he made a lot of money on the franchise tag, but he got injured, a pretty severe injury too, which I guess is partly the reason why Dallas didn't want to give him a big contract, but then again, you can't see those injuries coming. So I don't know. It's a tough situation. If I was Dak, I wouldn't want to play for Dallas just because of how they handled everything. I mean, they paid everyone else but you. Kind of left you hanging there, and then you played on franchise tag, which was more money than you were making, which is good, but it's not as much money as you could potentially make. I don't think I'm in the boat where I don't think Dak deserves, I don't know, one of the biggest contracts in the NFL right now for quarterback, because I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't see him up there with like Mahomes. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he plays quarterback, so I guess in turn he's a good quarterback. So Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, those guys. I don't see Dak in that tier. I think he's the tier below that. Who else I'd put in there? I don't really know. I'd put maybe Stafford, Matt Ryan, players like that. I think he'd be in that sort of range. Where that is money-wise, I don't really know, but I don't think he deserves to be paid the top 4 or 5 in the league for quarterback anyways. But he deserves to get his money, and Dallas should have paid him, I think. And if I was him, I'd want out. I wouldn't want to stay with Dallas anymore. I know he is coming back from injury, so teams are going to be a little weary of that, so they probably won't trade him. But we'll see what happens there. And also, this is more of like a hometown thing with me, but I'm interested to see what the Patriots are going to do at quarterback, because they can technically still re-sign Cam Newton, when I've heard that might be an option. And I don't really know how I feel about that, because I really wanted Cam Newton to work out this past year. Obviously, he didn't, and I don't know if he's going to get any better. Maybe with a normal year of preparation and everything, he will figure it out. But it's still a gigantic risk to take. I mean, if you're the Patriots, you can offer him league minimum again, like you just did, so that way the risk really isn't on you. And maybe you just have him as another gap quarterback, where he's not going to be the quarterback of the future, which obviously he's not anyways, because he's already 30 years old and older. But if you were to re-sign Cam Newton for league minimum for another, I don't know, year or two, let's say, and then you draft, I think they're talking about drafting Mac Jones from Alabama at their 15th spot. Because I don't think Stidham's the guy either, and obviously Hoyer isn't. But I think if you have Mac Jones, either 2 years from now or 3 years from now, depending on what you guys do for quarterback now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could trade to get Carson Wentz. You could have traded to get Stafford. You can still trade to get Deshaun Watson, so there's still options to do. This would be one of the lower options to do, obviously. I mean, your team probably still won't be that good in your division. You may get a wild card spot next year. I don't know. That's if Cam Newton plays better and if everyone opts into the season. If they do an opt-in and opt-out kind of thing like they did this year. Because I know New England's defense wasn't the same because they didn't have Hightower, they didn't have Chung. I mean, those are two pretty high-power guys on the defense. So that's why their team kind of struggled a little bit throughout the season, which I understand. But I think my priority for them right now would be to sign or to trade. I'd do a package. My thing would be I would do a package for Watson and Watt because I know they both, or I don't want to say I know, but reports have been out about them both wanting out of Houston, and what better way to do it than to package them together and trade them to New England for what? I don't know. I guess it would be what their asking price is for both of them. If you can't get both of them, then I would definitely just try and get Watson, have him be your quarterback of the future. I'd still draft Mac Jones at 15 if that's their plan. That way, in case something happens with Deshaun Watson, you have him as your backup. He doesn't necessarily need to step in and play his first year. I mean, he's kind of just that filling guy. He's probably going to be better than Jarrett Stidham. And Jarrett Stidham's still young, so who knows? Maybe he can right the ship and be a lot better. But that would be my plan. This would be my plan. Cam Newton would be my plan C. I would take Deshaun Watson over him. I would take Carson Wentz because I think Carson Wentz I think his situation can be corrected. I mean, he's shown it. I mean, he was almost MVP one year. So, I mean, he's got it. He's just something in his head isn't clicking with whatever's going on in Philly. So he may just need a new start and call it good. He's got the tools, so I think he's going to be fine. So I would say Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, and then Cam Newton. But in any case, still draft Mac Jones at 15 if that's their plan. Like, if that's who they want to take. That's what I would do. I would still take Mac Jones, but I don't know what their plan is. That's really all I wanted to talk about with the NFL. If you guys have any comments about the parade or any of those situations that I talked about, let me know in the comments below. We're going to go to the NBA now, and first thing right out of the gate, we're going to talk about Derrick Rose being traded from the Pistons to the Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and draft compensation. Now, I don't really know what the draft compensation was. I don't think it's been reported yet. And I don't really know what that means, to be completely honest. Is that a draft pick? Is that money? Like, I don't know what that means. But anyways, Derrick Rose returns to New York, who he played for, I think, a couple years ago. Derrick Rose is one of my favorite players. And he's reuniting with Tom Thibodeau from his MVP years with the Bulls. So that'll be interesting to see. I know Thibodeau has always liked Derrick Rose, and I think he's tried to get him on any team that he's coached. But for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out other than Chicago and now. And the Knicks were playing good, man. They're actually kind of a surprise for me out of the East. And Derrick Rose only helps them. He's already started to mentor them. He's played, I think, 1 or 2 games with them already. And he's already been mentoring the young guys at point guard, like telling them, like, I'm going to be like your guy. If you have questions about anything, like, come to me. So that's kind of cool. I've always, well, not always, because Derrick Rose, I don't think has always been like that. But I think now he knows he's a veteran. He can show these guys a lot. And maybe that's just working with Tom Thibodeau or whatever. But, Tom Thibodeau team is going to be good on defense. It may struggle on offense at sometimes, but they'll be good on the defensive side of the ball. So there's that trade that happened. We got the Dallas Mavericks said they stopped playing the national anthem before games just because of, well, I don't even know why, but I think it had something to do with protesting again or whatever. But The league has come out and said that every team is required to play the national anthem before the game. So Dallas said they will resume playing the national anthem at games. Yeah, there's that whole situation. And then we got Karl Anthony Towns returns from COVID-19. He tested positive for it a few weeks ago. Actually, it's been a while. He only played the first 4 games, then he came down with COVID and hasn't played since. So that'll be good to get him back for the Timberwolves. Hopefully they'll start to do a little bit better. We got the leaders at this point for assists and points. Assists is James Harden, surprisingly, and he's averaging 11 assists per game, which is really impressive from Harden, and that's since he came over to the Nets. So I mean, he's doing a really good job of distributing. I think having Kyrie and KD obviously helps, but so there's that. And then points, we have Bradley Beal's leading the league in points at 32.8 points per game, which is ridiculous, and that to me is a little surprising. Also surprising was Joel Embiid is like 5th, I think, in points per game, which is actually it's surprising. I mean, he hasn't really played that well the last few years, but this year he's kind of going nuts. So that's obviously good for the Philadelphia 76ers. You're actually in first place right now in the East. To do the top 4 of each division, we got Philly in first in the East at 18-7, Milwaukee at 16-9, Brooklyn at 15-12, and Boston at 12-11. Now Brooklyn and Boston, their records are both kind of disappointing. Philadelphia, they're actually exceeding my expectations at least. I had them like top 3 before the Harden trade to Brooklyn, and then I think I had I had Brooklyn. Actually, I don't even know who I had at the beginning of the year. I think I had Milwaukee, Boston, and Philadelphia as my top 3. I think that was it. And then Brooklyn was 4th. And then Brooklyn added James Harden, which kind of moved them up for me to 1. And then I had Milwaukee at 2, which Milwaukee's there. So Milwaukee's like where I predicted they'd be. But Brooklyn and Boston are definitely down a little bit, and Philadelphia is definitely up there. 18-7 is definitely impressive for them. And then the West, you got Utah at 1 at 20-5, the Lakers at 20-6, the Clippers at 18-8, and Phoenix at 15-9. Now the 2 no surprises are the Lakers and the Clippers, and the 2 surprises, at least to me, are Utah and Phoenix. I mean, I know Phoenix got Chris Paul, but I didn't see them jumping up that much like that. I mean, they're top 4 in the West right now, and the West is tough, man. And Utah to be running it out there, I mean, I know they had a good team, but they're doing crazy good right now. 20-5, man. Like, that's crazy. So things out West are getting pretty interesting, and which is good. I mean, you want to see a more... I mean, you can obviously tell, which actually, I don't know, you can't really obviously tell, because I mean, you got 3 teams potentially that could be the top seed in the East from the West. And the West is playing tougher. In my opinion, the West has been tougher for, I don't even know how long. Just probably as long as I've been alive. So it's weird to see their records be better. You'd think the records would be reversed because the East is easier. So I don't know. To me, the East has been the competition throughout the East as a division is, or as a conference, I should say, just hasn't been like very well balanced. The West, I feel like it's been really, really balanced. Like the worst team in the West is usually still a pretty good team. I mean, you usually see the last team from the East that makes it usually has like a losing record. You don't see that from the West ever. So I guess it goes hand in hand. But I believe that the West has always been, or not always, but has been better for a long, long time. Now I may get some flack for saying that, but I think it's been kind of the case for a long time, and I think a lot of people have actually seen that. So I'm not the only one. That's it for the NBA. MLB, we got a trade that just happened yesterday, which I'm sure plenty of you guys have heard about that. And then the rest of the news is all signings. I'm just going to go right through this list because it's actually a lot of people. So I'm going to start off with the trade. The trade was actually a 3-team trade between the Red Sox, the Royals, and the Mets. The Red Sox gave up Andrew Benintendi, which is, I mean, it's a loss for the Red Sox because I mean he helped bring a World Series here. He made like the last out, I think it was, in the World Series in 2018 when they won, and it was an impressive catch. I think that was the last out in the World Series. I can't remember. I just remember seeing the play where he was like diving and caught it, and they all cheered because it was it was definitely the end of the game. I know that. I'm pretty sure it was the end of the World Series, but anyway, the Red Sox got Frankie Cordero. I could be pronouncing these wrong too. From the Royals, along with 2 players to be named later. They also got Josh Winkowski and 2 players to be named later from the Mets. The Royals got Benintendi and some cash, and the Mets got Khalil. I don't even know how to say his last name, but he's an outfielding prospect. They got him from the Royals. So the Royals are going to be a pretty good team. I don't think they'll win their division, but look out for them to be like a surprise team. Then we also have the rest of these are just signings. We have the Marlins sign Adam Duvall, so that'll be some power to their lineup. The Brewers signed Jordan Zimmerman. Cardinals re-signed Yadier Molina, so he comes back for I think year 18 now. Which I've always liked Yadier Molina, even though I'm a Red Sox fan. Had to go up against him once in the World Series, I think. Maybe twice. I think once, though. And the Angels re-signed Shohei Ohtani for 2 more years. The Braves re-signed Marcell Ozuna. The Dodgers signed Trevor Bauer, which the Dodgers are going to be crazy this year, which I'm fine with because I like the Dodgers as well, which I know is weird, Red Sox and Dodgers, but whatever. Jed Lowry signs with Oakland, and the last piece of news is is a sad piece of news. Pedro Gomez, reporter from ESPN, passed away unexpectedly at the age of 58. They haven't really released how or the cause of death, or at least that I've seen. They definitely said it was unexpectedly. He's covered primarily baseball for a long time. I've always seen him on ESPN, but he's done other journalism work for baseball for a number of different places. But so definitely a sad piece of news from that. He passed away, I think Wednesday. I think it was yesterday they announced that he passed away unexpectedly. So that's the last piece of news I have for MLB. I know it's a sad note, but we go on to movies and TV. We got, for those of you that watched the Super Bowl, probably saw the newest trailer for The Falcon and Winter Soldier. That actually drew in 125 million views from the Super Bowl ad, which is the most ever for a streaming series. And I'm really pumped for that series. I can't wait for it to start. I'm glad that it starts really quickly right after WandaVision. I'm trying to keep us going in the timeline and keep the action going. It's also reportedly the most violent thing that Marvel has done, which I'm super hyped for because, I mean, Captain America Winter Soldier was like one of my favorite movies from Marvel, and the fighting in that was really, I don't want to say it was violent, but it was definitely just the fighting in that seemed more realistic. Like his Winter Soldier's fight with Captain America in that was very good, I thought. Very well choreographed and made it look very realistic. So to see him and Falcon go at it with some bad guys. The bad guy is Zemo from oh my god, from Civil War. Yes, from Civil War. There we go. Um, so he's going to be the bad guy in the series, I think. I don't know if that series. No one knows if any of these series are going to be more than one season. I mean, I don't think. I haven't seen anything been reported for more than one season. So there's that piece of news from Falcon and Winter Soldier. We got Lucasfilm has fired Gina Carano. You might know her from The Mandalorian. They fired her for her tweets in November, which I'm not even going to say what they were. But so she got fired. I don't know if they're going to recast or do what with her character from The Mandalorian. We'll have to see. I know this probably comes as a bit of a, I don't want to say surprise, but it's kind of a last-minute thing. So we'll see what happens with next season of Mandalorian. I know they had a lot of plans for her character, but now everything's kind of squashed. And then we got True Detective Season 4 is in the works for HBO. We got some castings for the Last of Us series. It's going to star 2 Game of Thrones stars, actually, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. They're going to star in The Last of Us for HBO. I think that series will be really cool. I haven't played any of the games, so don't judge me on that fact. But I still think it's going to be good. I mean, Pedro Pascal has been in numerous things now, so it can't really be bad. Then we have the Justice League trailer. The Snyder Cut should be coming, or the trailer at least should be releasing on February 14th, so this Sunday. So stay tuned for that. We have an adult animated Velma series is coming to HBO Max with Mindy Kaling from The Office. Is basically what I know her from. She will be playing the voice of Velma. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will be released April 8th, 2022. That's all the news I have. We're going to talk about WandaVision, Episode 5. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch, don't listen. So yeah, here it comes. Spoiler alert. So this episode was... It was another intriguing one. It had less, I think it definitely had less comedy, which was a bit of a turn, which, I mean, it was a good thing that it turned like that. We're starting to get towards the end of Season 1 if they're going to have more seasons, but we're getting towards the end, so it kind of needs to come to a conclusion, or somewhat of a conclusion. So Monica sends in a drone from the era that WandaVision is now playing in, which I think was the 80s. So they sent an 80s era drone into her bubble, her force field, I guess. Sent it in to see what she was doing, to try and see if they could talk to her, to tell her to, come out and talk, which Monica was voicing it, and she was like, you could see on the TV that Wanda and her kids were looking up at the drone, but you couldn't see the drone in what Wanda was showing them. Obviously, you guys know all this, but I'm just kind of talking about it out loud here. The drone is not controlled by Monica, so when Sword goes to... It looked like they were going to shoot her. You kind of just see the drone go dark, and everyone's like, whoa, what happened? Wanda herself comes out of the force field holding the drone and is like, is this yours? And kind of like sets it on the ground. And then the best part of her confronting them was her telling them that this is like their last warning that they're going to get from her. And then having the guys with the guns point all at the director of Sword, or whatever he is. I don't even, general of Sword, whatever he was. That was kind of funny in my opinion, but I thought she was actually going to have him shoot him. I was like, oh damn, this is going to get violent real quick. But she didn't. They just aimed the guns at him, and then you see her go back, and the episode's like over, And throughout the episode too, you're also seeing that Vision is kind of getting. He actually uncovers the fact that they might be living in like a different reality or something. He doesn't know really what exactly is going on. He just knows that people are being held captive by her, by Wanda, and doesn't really know why or doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't remember anything other than waking up in that house when it's black and white and he's married to her. So he doesn't remember any of that. He just knows that it doesn't feel right. And then the episode's like pretty much over. You're seeing the credits come up like a normal TV show, but then you hear the doorbell ring and you see Wanda and Vision kind of like look at each other and then look at the door, and they're like, "Oh, are you expecting anyone?" And they're like, "No." But then Wanda gets up and goes to the door, and Vision follows her. And when she opens the door, they're like not showing you who it is for like the longest time. So I'm sitting there guessing that it's going to be like the big cameo that they talked about, which this might be the cameo that they're talking about that's going to happen throughout the show. But so I'm thinking it's like Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange. Some people have speculated it was going to be Iron Man, which I don't think it's going to be Iron Man. They're not going to bring him back just for this. I don't see why. I don't see the point bringing him back for it. Wanda wasn't like especially close with Iron Man, so it wouldn't really play out like that. But I was expecting someone like that, and we got her brother. But it wasn't her brother from Age of Ultron. It was her brother, but it was Evan Peters from Dark Phoenix, the X-Men series. So he is from a completely different reality, but she recognizes him as her brother. So, or at least it seems that way. She says Pietro, which is her brother, and then like invites him into the house. So I'm just like, what? So this may introduce this did definitely introduce the different realities, and it reinforced the idea of bringing other realities into this one. It also brings up X-Men coming into this reality. So the possibilities right now are kind of endless when you talk about bringing. Now they didn't show how he got there. That'll be the interesting thing. Like how, like did she? Because they said in the show, like who was it? Oh my God, is her name Darcy? I just forgot her name again from Thor. Damn it! I just literally watched it and I can't. I think it's Darcy. It's something like that. But she suggests she recast her brother. So she doesn't even know, or they don't know, that he's from a different reality. So how he got there is going to be really interesting to see. I'm excited for this Friday when the next episode comes out, which, well, actually it's tomorrow. Sorry. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting way. I mean, this could be a way for them to bring in Wolverine, or I don't know. It's just or even how they could tie this into Spider-Man 3 possibly. They could bring any other Spider-Man. Oh man. Like I said, the opportunities and what they could do are endless right now because they've done this. Now, what's going to be really important is how they show how he got to that reality. If they show some stupid way, which I don't think they're going to, but like a really stupid way where you're just like, really? Come on. Like that's not. Then I don't know. I don't think people will really respond well to that. So I think they're going to have a strong reason why or how he got there, in which I think they will have. But it'll be interesting to see how he did, because I don't know how they would do that unless they do like a. No, I don't even see them doing that. I was gonna say some sort of like Ant-Man thing with like the rat from Endgame, or yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how they set that up. I don't really have. I mean, I don't have a theory for how he got there. I do have a theory of how the show will be, and if that wasn't the cameo that they were talking about, I think there's a good probability that it's going to be Captain Marvel just because of Monica being in it. And I know you got the Ant-Man and the Wasp guy there. You got the Thor woman there. but I think she plays too much of a role. Like, Monica plays too much of a role with Captain Marvel that Captain Marvel won't come. Like, I feel like Monica's going to call for help and Captain Marvel will be there. Or, if that isn't the case, she'll ask for help and Captain Marvel will send Doctor Strange because she knows what he can do. Can kind of counteract what Wanda can do. So, I'm fully expecting either Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange cameo if if Wanda's brother wasn't already the cameo, because that could have been the cameo she was talking about, but I don't think it is. So, because it's only episode 5, so we still got 4 more. So, that's all the news I have. We're gonna bring this back again next week, like we normally do. I don't know if it's gonna be same time, same day, or what, but for right now, all we know that it is going to be next week again. So, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe down below like you guys usually do. And I will see you guys next week. See ya.